So, theories of adaptation novel to film. Chapter 3, we discussed. Already shared the material with you. The critical writings of film theorists like Andre Bastin, Bela Balas, George Blueston, and Sergei Eisenstein will be understood in this. And I have ticked the important points which will help you. So you have to read the whatever is ticked or underlined, highlighted, and you have to go through that. You have to write it down in a piece of paper and develop these points into an essay or a short answer, which is very important because quoting all these writers will impress the examiner. So now look at what Balaz is saying. Balaz is saying the novel should be regarded as a potential raw material to be transformed at will by the writer of the screenplay. So novel is not something that is, when you're approaching it from the perspective of a film, a novel is not a complete entity as such because it is just a raw material. It can be treated as a raw material because there is difference between film and the book. There are two different forms. Later on we'll come to that, but here we find that so the book can be treated as a raw material to be transformed by the writer at will by the writer of the screenplay. So it can be translated by the writer of the screenplay in whatever way he wants. So it is according to Balas a raw material. Novel is a raw material. Even though an adaptation takes a subject of another work, the adaptation is an entirely new entity. Another point that he says is that even though an adaptation takes a subject of another work, the adaptation is an entirely new entity. That means it is something different. It is not the old one. Literature provides the raw material for the film adaptation to create new visual forms and thematic contents. There are several variations possible. So now, even though literature provides the raw materials for film adaptation to create new visual forms, and even though it gives a new context for in which something else can be developed, there are several variations possible. Variations are possible. Variations can be there. Changes can be there. So literature cannot be taken as such. There can be certain changes also made in it. But before we go to changes and all those things, the things will be discussed later on. We'll come to that. So here we have another critic talking. According to Crosser, if an adaptation fails, the fault lies not in the film but in their sources, which are considered either cinematic or uncinematic. Redemption of physical reality is the only true purpose of cinema, as an examination of the psychological state of him. Okay, we don't need that. So now look at what Morissette is saying. Conveyance of images is the common goal of film and literature. As I said in the previous lecture, that we find that film and literature, what they are trying to achieve is that they are trying to, as I said earlier, the book will try to present the things in a realistic manner like cinema. And cinema will try to be like the book. So that is the thing that joins them together. All the film directors will have in their mind that they should explain that, which is possible in cinema, in literature, whereas in cinema it is not possible to explain everything. What is going on inside the mind of the reader, maybe the character can be written by the writer in a text, but it is not possible for the cinema or the director to bring out what is inside the mind of the character. In drama, we have what is called soliloquy. And so we find Hamlet going around talking what is inside his mind, but that's not possible always in cinema. So they have to show it in a different manner. So, but whereas in the novel, we find that the writer can simply write it down and say that this was what happened inside the mind. So both attempts to make the mind see by projecting on the inner screen of the brain moving pictures of objects and events. Image is conveyed by word and by picture undergo a sea change in the process of reception to find a common identity in unified fields of inner aesthetic response. So a common identity has to be there in the inside aesthetic response. The final thing that is going to come out is the aesthetic response. So that has to be there. So that is what both aims. So both the novel and the film are different forms, which of necessity cannot evoke parallel responses. So don't think that when you are reading the book, you can there will be a kind of response, and when you are watching a movie, there will be a different kind of response. Both cannot have the same kind of response. So don't expect that these things are parallel. These things are to be united, and these things will give the equivalent experience that one gets by reading the book. The film has to give that same kind of experience. That's absolutely wrong. Both are different. So we have to understand one is word, the other is image. Einstein says that cinema is not just a kind of, you can't, it is not dialogue. Cinema is not dialogue. Dialogue is there to support. The thing is that images, the visual images that is created by the director. That is the most important thing. It is not the dialogue. So here, look at this scene. 12 o'clock in the sound is denoted by means of a whole series of shots from different camera angles. This striking of clock from various distances intensifies the impact as in the look. So look here, we find that when 12 o'clock, if you can write, so what is the language of cinema? And it is not that different from the language of fiction to a certain extent, but the only way is that how it is shot. So the impact of a 12 o'clock clock ring can be written and created by the writer using different perspectives and angles and creating the atmosphere before the bell rings, whereas the director may not be able to do all those things by using the camera. But here we find in this 12 o'clock sound is shown from different camera angles, that the striking of clock from various distances intensifies the impact that can be created. So how the camera is placed, where the camera is placed, by either below, either top, either parallel, either side. So different ways the shot is shown. This creates the impact. This will give the mind a kind of a different angles. For example, the 12 o'clock first shot will be shown from so the first shot will be shown from another angle, the second shot will be shown from a parallel angle. So like that, it can differ. It will differ, and this difference will be give a kind of create an impact in the viewer, because it is a visual experience. So you are seeing it from different angles. So like that, when you are recreating something that is from the novel, the director can also use various techniques to show that what is actually shown. See, for a good experience of a visual image, you have to read The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. So you have to read that. Then you will understand. That when we are okay. So okay, when you read T.S. Eliot, you get images, different kinds of images coming from each paragraph. So from that, you create a visual image, which will ultimately give you the result that Eliot wants us to communicate. So he has used different objective correlatives to communicate this. This is a kind of technique that Eliot used at the very same time when cinema was also coming up. So that is something very intelligent and good. So when if you want to make a movie based on Wasteland, I don't know whether anybody has attempted that, but that is pretty easy because the script is already there in the Wasteland. So you can just go through it and create the images. London city is falling, then about the sweet Thames flowing gently on all where the Fisher King is there. All the characters are there, so it can be made into a film. But that will be a different, entirely new kind of film, a different way in which it has to. So that even when you're translating the text or you're making a movie from the text, you can incorporate things that will create an impact in the viewer. So that is possible. Again, in Oliver Twist, when you are actually, or when you're showing the people the poverty that is there, the writer can write it everything in a very good way, describing the poverty, how the condition is, everything is bad. So all this can be said. When a writer writes and says that Oliver Twist lived in extreme poverty, that is a very easy way to present things. So a good writer will not do that. A good writer will create the atmosphere. It will show how the condition is. It will show how little Oliver Twist gets to eat, how thin he is, how weak he is. Everything will be shown, and uh, he will not write that Oliver Twist lived in a very bad condition. So it has to be shown. And when you come to that narrative description of Oliver Twist in poverty, the writer has ample opportunity to write it down in a very good way that it will convince the reader that Oliver Twist is in a poor state of affairs, or his life is in a very pitiable condition. The same thing can be recorded in using a camera and shown in a cinema also. So in a cinema, maybe it will be shown more effectively than in the district, because we can at least see what kind of food he is having. So people who are not familiar with the food that is taken at that time will also be able to see what kind of food the Oliver Twist is having and understand how miserable his condition is. So both works parallel here. But in certain scenes, it is not possible to communicate the inner trauma that is experienced by Herzog. May not be possible if we are they are making a movie. I think there's a movie based on that. So the catch into, for example, you cannot communicate the things properly, and catch into the cinema is not a success like the novel. The novel sold even now sells at least 100 copies a month. So that is very important now. Nobody watches the movie Catch 22, but they will continue reading the book. That is the advantage of book and film. So when the book will be read by many people, the book will stay in the shelves of bookstalls for many days, but the cinema will vanish after some time, and you will have to go back and get it from the archives to watch it. Whereas in book, you can just go to the library and share it. So advantage of book and cinema are there. Both will, as far as marketing is concerned, both are really good, and what the book makes in its lifetime can be made in monetary-wise in it can be made in a week's time by the film. So that is the difference. Monetary benefit is more for the film than the book. Now we have Blueston, as mentioned earlier. An adaptation was a type of raw material that paraphrases thematic content. Characters, key incidents, and thematic high points become cognitive qualities for the film. The adapter thus becomes a true author, not a mere translator of another's work. So when we are creating a cinema, അത് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. അത് ഞാൻ ഈ ലൈവ് വരുമ്പോഴാണ് കാണിക്കാൻ പറ്റും. നെറ്റ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കാണിക്കാം. ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഇങ്ങോട്ട് കണക്ഷൻ വരുന്നത് അതെന്താ ഓക്കെ, ഞാൻ ക്ലാസ് റിസ്യൂം ചെയ്യണേ. പോസ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുക. അയ്യോ റെക്കോർഡിംഗ് ആയിരുന്നു. According to Blueston, an adaptation was a type of raw material that paraphrases thematic content. Characters, key incidents, and thematic high points become cognitive qualities for the film. So when you are adapting a novel from or a movie, you are making a movie and based on a novel, the important things, elements should be taken from that. You can't just translate it and say this is a film, or the central characters cannot be changed. Otherwise, it should be a subversion. It can be a subversion. For example, like in Randamujam, it's a subversion in which Bhiman is given importance instead of Arjunan. So, in a way, that is an adaptation. In Vadakan Veeragatha, we find Chandu. The Chandu is given importance. So, like that, that is a subversion. But whereas you are taking, but still, look at Chandu. The major incidents are there. All the characters are same. Only thing is that the incident is shown in a different perspective. So that is the thing. That can also be, even though it's a subversion, it's still an adaptation. So major themes, major characters, key incidents, and all these things should be the same. Maybe one or two changes can be made, but still the central theme and central issue should be cited at either in the big at a particular point. That has to be there in the film. So when you are taking a novel and adapting it into a cinema, you just can't do that as you wish. Because if it is to be an adapted version, it has to be a translated version. If it has to be a translated version, you have to have certain elements that is there in this particular novel to be there in the film also. Without that, it is not perfect. So, അപ്പോൾ അത് അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും മാറ്റുമ്പോൾ തടിയെടുക്കുന്നു. നിങ്ങൾ തടിയെടുത്തിട്ട് ഒരു പല കഷ്ണം പല ഇതാക്കി മാറ്റുന്നു, ഫേർണിച്ചറാക്കി മാറ്റുന്നു. യു ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ എ ബെഡ്, യു ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ എ സ്റ്റൂൾ, യു ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ എ ഡോർ, യു ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ എ ചെയർ, യു ക്യാൻ മേക്ക് ഇറ്റ് എ ടേബിൾ, ബട്ട് സ്റ്റിൽ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ബി തേക്ക്. So the essential thing is that it is the particular tree, the name of the tree, teak, will be there. Teak table, teak bed, teak door, teak chair. So the teak element will not change. So like that, when you are translating a novel into a film, certain elements will be there. So, more than just the raw material, faithfulness is or fidelity is very important. So, in the last class, we were discussing the article about fidelity. So, faithfulness to literary source, it should carry the spirit that is there in the literary source. The spirit has to be there. And the fundamental aspect that is there is the spirit. Here, look at this sentence. Bazin says that the essential experience of the subject matter, or cinema rediscovers the essential experience of the subject matter by its own technical device, keeping in mind the vision of the creator and the spirit of the work by an infusion of tone. Cinema adaptation, according to him, intensifies and reveals nuances and details of its literary source. So now here we find that Bazin says that the essential experience of the subject matter so cinema rediscovers the essential experience of the subject matter, by its own technical devices, keeping in mind the vision of the creator. So keeping in mind the vision of the creator and the spirit of the work by an infusion of tone. So different kinds of techniques are there in the cinema. And by keeping in mind the vision of the creator and the kind of spirit that the work has, the spirit, the essence of the work, the possibility of light and sound and other techniques are exploited, and this will be shown by the director in a particular kind of way, and that is what is the way in which the cinema is created. So now cinema adaptations reveal more than the literary source. So cinema adaptation will reveal more details than its literary sources. So that is something really good about cinema. Look here, Bassin feels that a film is neither the product of translation or free inspiration, but the result of a creative dialectic. Film, according to Bassin, is a question of building a secondary work with the novel as foundation. In no sense is the film comparable to the novel or worthy of it. It is a new aesthetic creation, the novel, so to speak, multiplied by the cinema. For Bassin, the novel is a stimulus and the adapter is an interpreter. A very good way in which Bassin has put it is that neither film the product of translation or free inspiration. So it is not neither the product of translation or free inspiration, but the result of a creative dialectic. So it is a creative way in which it has been presented. So it is not a kind of translation, or it is not a kind of an inspiration, but it is a kind of product that is entirely different from one another. So film is a kind of a building up a secondary work with the novel in the mind. So you have a novel in the mind, or there is a foundation created by novel. So look at the way in which we have to view both the book and the text and the film. So look at don't see the film as a recreation of the text, or the text as superior to the film. So we have to see it in this perspective, in the perspective that that text is something different. So a text is capable of many things, many possibilities. And when you're looking at a film, it is working on this base or this foundation to create a new kind of experience. Okay, so for example, you take agarbatti, chandanatiri. So that is a text. When you light it, the smoke or the smell that comes out is the film. Understood? So both are different. So it is because of the agarbatti that the smoke comes out, or the smell comes out from out because of the fire. So that is the process that takes place. So cinema is lighting the agarbatti, and the result is immensely great. So what is actually that is coming out in the form of smoke is from the agarbatti. Like that, what is actually we experience or we visualize in the film is from the texture of the novel. So we can't say that both are different or both are same, or we can't understand one based on the other, because both are a kind of different experience. So we have to understand the form itself, the text, the cinema or the textbook. Both are different. We can't simply say that film is an adaptation of a text, because cinema is different from the text. So we have to view it in two different ways. We can say that the film is a product of translation or kind of free inspiration. Why is an adapted film not a kind of free inspiration? Because it has already a raw material there. So the raw material is recreated, but there is lots of inspiration, elements of inspiration is there, whereas in the textbook that is not there. That means, I mean, it cannot be. No, what I said is wrong. See, the thing is that it has got elements of inspiration. The textbook also has lots of inspiration. So, textbook is a product of inspiration, and cinema is a product of inspiration from the inspiration created by the text. So, it is a different experience on the whole, a complete new experience. So we just can't say that this is limited, or this experience is only for this particular kind of thing. So we feel that there is experience. Okay, Bazin feels that film is neither the product of translation or free inspiration, but the result of a creative dialectic. Film, according to Bazin, is a question of building a secondary work with the novel as the foundation. So in no sense is the film comparable to the novel or worthy of it. None of Basin പറയുന്നത്. So Basin is saying that Basin, so it is a kind of something that creates the film. That is how Basin. Now we have another theoretician, Lester Ashim, another film theorist, contends that the film oversimplifies, exaggerates, overstates, romanticizes, and dramatizes the theme of the novel. A very good way in which he has put it. So, film, now look at the continue. His basic assumption is that film trivializes its original, and he believes that movement from novel into film necessitates changes. Essentially, this is a stylistic change which substitutes a pictorial style for the literary style of the novel. It alters the manner of a story by telling, but need not alter the matter. So Lester Ashheim says that the film oversimplifies, exaggerates, overstates, romanticizes, and dramatizes the theme of the novel. So theme of the novel is exaggerated and presented in a very extreme way, oversimplifying, over presenting of things, overstating of things. So this is not good as far as cinema is concerned, because then from novel to the film, it is a kind of an exaggeration. It becomes a kind of an exaggeration. So that is not what Ashim feels. Now we find another thing that he says is that the form determines the content as completely as the content determines the form. Okay, so here talking about the form. See, when we say that the cinema is faithful to the written text, what happens is that the emphasis of faithfulness to the written text makes the adaptation lose its creative claims. So an adaptation seen from that perspective can never be equal to or better than its sources. So when we claim that the film is faithful to the novel, what happens is that this creativity claims the adaptation loses its importance or creativity. So it is nothing. The adaptation now becomes nothing, because the adaptation is already what has already been set in the novel. So there is nothing in that. So the creative element vanishes. So that is one point that Lester Ashheim says. Now look at here, the audience that knows only the film and not the book is presented with a falsified interpretation which leaves no clues that would permit it to reconstruct the original truth. So if the audience is watching the film and not reading the book, then what happens here is that they are presented with a falsified interpretation which leaves no clues that would permit it to reconstruct the original truth. So the original truth cannot be brought back. The what the viewer views is the just the film or the a different version of what actually the novel is. So adaptation, in that sense, creates. Or if you are just viewing the movie Great Gatsby and not reading the text, then you will not realize what the truth is. So there is a problem with the film. The adapted film is that the film is not truth. The truth is in the text. So what is represented in the film, that the directors face this problem. That is, what is represented in the film is not actual fact. The actual fact is always there in the text. So this kind of a trauma will always haunt the director. I, so you can think of it. So look at this from this perspective. When a director is making a film, he realizes that the truth is always in the text, and what he is creating is a different version of the reality that is all that already exists. So that will always trouble the director, and that is why Ashim says that adaptation is an inferior version of its source. Adaptation is an inferior version of its source. Now we look at Blueston. Blueston saying that according to him, he takes a more positive attitude. That's what the essayists feel. According to him, fiction is metamorphosed into a new artistic entity, in asserting that a filmmaker is not simply a translator but a new author. So according to him, fiction is a metamorphosed into a new artistic entity. So according to Blueston, he is a bit more positive in his attitude to the role of adaptations. Fiction is metamorphosed into a new artistic entity. Look at here, when you are adapting a movie or adapting or making a movie out of a book or a fiction, it is not a kind of something that is a new entity as such, according to Blueston, but it is something that has evolved out of the text. It has something that has evolved out of the text. It is something, fiction is metamorphosed into a new artistic entity. And a filmmaker is not a translator but a new author. And here, look at like what I said about Catch 22. He says, in film criticism, it has always been easier to recognize how a poor film destroys a superior novel. What has not been sufficiently recognized is that such destruction is inevitable. So, this films, some mediocre films will destroy the real sense of the superiority of the novel, and such a destruction is inevitable. So sometimes a film or the way in which cinema is made uh, is such a way that it is inferior, and it destroys the real cinema that actually the real book that is there. So some inferior quality, fiction or I mean cinema will destroy the real way in which the book tries to communicate. So the good example is Catch 22. So by Joseph Heller. So if you read the book, you get a kind of an idea about the novel, and later on, when you actually view the movie, you find how disappointing it is. So that is how the way in which Joseph Heller has presented Catch 22 and the way in which the cinema is presented by a director, both are different. And one people who are familiar with Catch 22 will not like to view that movie, which is not a kind of a real version of the novel. So that is what, even though we acknowledge that cinema is different from uh, novel, we still understand that some novels, when they were made into cinema, were created in a way in which it actually it's far inferior to the novel. So we have seen that screen adaptations have been viewed differently by different film theorists. So Andre Bassin saw them as translations from a linguistic medium to a visual medium, from text to visuals. George Blueston called it as a new work of art, where adapter was the creator, and Joy Goldboyom felt that films based on great literary works were critical interpretations. What you have in a film adaptation is a transformation from one another of seeing to another. So here we find Joy Goldboyom saying that film adaptation on great literary works were critical interpretation. So it is actually critical interpretation. Critically, it is interpreted in a different way. That is what Boyom feels. So different ways to see these adaptations. We are able to see it in different ways. So in adaptations, the film theorists have attempted to classify adaptations, arranging them into modes or types. So different modes, we will see different modes, and so one is metaphrase, in which translating an author word by word and line by line from one language to another. Then we have paraphrase, where the author is not literally translated word by word, but his sense is retained and amplified. So in metaphrase, we find each and every word will be translated. In paraphrase, the content will be taken, but it will be in a different way. Imitation. So where the translator assumes the liberty not only to vary from words and sense, but to forsake them both as he sees occasion, taking only some general hints from those. So in imitation, it is not original. So just like gold. The imitation gold will take only what is required, the color, but it will not be gold. So like that, in imitation, it will not take anything. It will take the liberty not only to vary from words and sense, but also forsake them both. But only the sense will be there. The general hints will be there. It will look like gold, but it is not gold. So that is imitation in translation also. It will be all the things will be different, but it will actually take only some general hints from the original. So that is how it is created. In cinema, we find that there are three kinds. One is transpositioning, and in transposition, in which a novel is directly given on the screen with the minimum of apparent interferences. And Wagner calls this method most pervasive, least satisfactory, and puerile. So this is in which a novel is directly given on the screen. That will be terribly be a kind of a bit not a good experience at all, because a novel cannot be translated like that into cinema. So every details will be given on the screen. That will be, I don't know how it will be. It will not be that good to see a different instead of deleting what is required. It will be just showing what is happening. In certain films, it is possible. For example, Tagore's story can be shown like this. So there are Rabindranath Tagore's stories that can be shown in transposition, but in commentary, in which an original is either purposefully or inadvertently altered to re-emphasize or restructure. So in commentary, we find that alternation is there. Some areas will be emphasized, some areas will be focused, and some areas will not be that that will not be that given importance. So restructuring is possible. Restructuring is done. So it is just kind of a commentary. So transposition, extra translation, commentary, whatever is required will be given. And in the analogy, what happens is that we find, and in the third kind of translation, which is called the analogy, the fiction is taken as a point of departure. So two things happen, or whether where the comparison takes place between the fiction and the cinema. So here we find we get an opportunity to a kind of, it will be a kind of a depiction in which certain points may be included, may not be included. So it depends. It is a kind of a going parallel to the fiction, where the director takes his own innovative skills to present the cinema in a way in which may be strikingly similar to the fiction, but at the same time departing from the original. And it is a kind of moving away from the fiction, and not a kind of moving close to the text. So that is the way in which the three kinds of making of movies adaptations are based on. So we have seen different ways in which film adaptation works, and we come to the conclusion that whether it is the original way in which the text is recreated, or whether in which there is some variation, a cinema as such is a cinema, and fiction is the base of an adaptation. So fiction as such stands aloof, and cinema also is a kind of a byproduct of the text. Even though it can be said to be on its own, still it is a byproduct of the novel.